The sun was dipping low over the horizon, painting the village sky with streaks of orange and pink. A quiet breeze carried the scent of roasted yam and wood smoke, the familiar fragrance of home. At the end of the dusty road, an old man in a neatly pressed but faded brown suit walked slowly, clutching a worn leather bag in one hand and a cheap plastic gift bag in the other. Pa Noji was a man who had weathered many storms in life. His hands, calloused from years of farming, still shook slightly, not from weakness, but from the heavy weight of emotions. His daughter, Amoka, was getting married today. He had walked almost 3 miles from the bus stop because he couldn't afford a taxi. His savings, every last naira, had gone into the humble gifts in his bag: a bottle of cheap wine, a wrapper cloth for his new son-in-law, and a small gold-plated bangle for Amoka. It wasn't much, but it was all he could give. The sound of distant music floated toward him, live highlife music, mixed with laughter, chatter, and the faint popping of champagne. It was a lavish wedding, unlike anything Pa Noji had ever attended. He felt a surge of pride, and a deep, gnawing worry. Would Amoka be happy to see him? Or would she be ashamed? As Pa Noji approached the grand event center, the music grew louder, and the scent of rich jollof rice and grilled meat filled the air. The gate was decorated with white roses and gold ribbons, flanked by 2 tall, well-dressed security guards. Guests in shimmering lace and agbada strolled past, their perfumes blending into a cloud of wealth and status. Pa Noji stepped forward, offering a warm, toothy smile. "I am here for my daughter's wedding," he said proudly. The guard's eyes swept over him from head to toe: the worn shoes, the patched suit, the frayed shirt collar. His smile faded into something colder. "Which one be your daughter?" the guard asked flatly. "Amoka Noji. She is the bride," Pa Noji replied, standing straighter. The guard gave a short, humorless laugh. "Wait here." He disappeared inside. Pa Noji shifted uncomfortably. Guests kept walking past, some glancing at him with curiosity, others with barely disguised pity. He could hear their whispers. Who invited this old man? But pretended not to. The guard returned with a younger woman in a gold bridesmaid dress, Amoka's friend, Nkechi. Her face froze when she saw him. "Papa, you came," she said softly. "Of course, my daughter is getting married today," Pa Noji replied, his voice trembling with joy. Nkechi hesitated, then said, "Papa, maybe you should wait outside for now. The hall is full, and we don't want any scene." Her words sliced through him like a knife. Inside the dressing room, Amoka was having her makeup touched up. Her white gown shimmered under the lights, her veil cascading like a waterfall of dreams. "Amoka," Nkechi said cautiously, stepping in. "Your father is here." The makeup artist froze, glancing at Amoka. For a moment, Amoka's eyes lit up. Papa came. But then she saw her reflection, flawless, elegant, surrounded by luxury, and remembered the fear she had carried for months. Her husband-to-be's family was rich, powerful, and judgmental. She'd heard their comments before. Some village girl trying to marry up. If they saw her father, poor, simple, in his faded suit, would they mock her? Would they respect her less? She bit her lip, her heart in turmoil. "Nkechi, maybe tell him the hall is too full. Give him some food outside." I don't want any trouble." Nkechi's face fell. "Amoka, he walked all the way here for you." But Amoka turned away, blinking back tears. "Please, just do it." Pa Noji sat on a wooden bench outside, the hot sun beating down on his bald head. The guards brought him a small plastic plate of rice and 1 piece of meat. He thanked them politely, even though he had no appetite. From where he sat, he could hear bursts of laughter and applause inside. Occasionally, he caught a glimpse of Amoka through the open door, dancing, smiling, surrounded by people who seemed like strangers. He clutched the gold-plated bangle in his hand. It was warm now, almost burning against his palm. "She will come to me," he told himself. "After all, I am her father." But as the hours passed, she did not. As the ceremony ended and the reception began, Photographers moved outside to capture guests with the couple. When Pa Naji stood up hopefully, one photographer waved him away. "Sir, please, only family and special guests," the man said curtly. "But I am her father," Pa Naji protested, his voice breaking. The photographer stared at him for a long moment, then turned away as if he hadn't heard. Pa Naji's heart pounded. This was not the day he had imagined. When it became clear Amoka would not come, Pa Naji stood slowly, slung his leather bag over his shoulder, and began walking toward the dusty road. His shoes scraped against the gravel, each step heavier than the last. Behind him, music and laughter roared on. No one noticed him leave. Weeks later, Amoka received a small brown envelope in the mail. Inside was the gold bangle and a handwritten letter. "My dear Amoka, I am sorry I could not stay longer on your wedding day. I did not want to embarrass you. I hope your husband treats you with love and respect. Always remember, no matter how far you go, the soil that grew you will always be your home." Tears splashed onto the paper. For the first time, she felt the sharp sting of regret. Months passed, and Amoka's marriage began to crack. Her husband's wealth came with arrogance and cruelty. The family she had married into looked down on her constantly, reminding her she was lucky to be there. One evening, after a heated argument, her husband spat. "If your own father didn't think you were worth standing beside, why should I?" The words cut deeper than any insult before. In the middle of the night, Amoka packed a small bag and took the first bus to her village. She hadn't been back since the wedding. When she arrived at her father's compound, the door was slightly ajar. Inside, Pa Naji was asleep on a wooden bed, his chest rising and falling peacefully. She stood there for a long time, tears streaming down her face. When Pa Naji woke, he found Amoka kneeling at his feet, her head bowed low. "Papa, I'm sorry. I was ashamed of you, and I should never have been. You are the best man I know." Pa Naji's eyes glistened. He reached down, lifted her chin and whispered, "You are my daughter. Nothing you do will stop me from loving you." From that day, Amoka stayed in the village for months, helping her father on the farm, cooking for him, and learning the value of humility. Slowly, the walls between them fell. She began a small poultry business, determined to build her own wealth without depending on anyone's approval. Her business grew beyond her imagination. She expanded into egg supply and poultry feed, attracting customers from neighboring towns. Within 3 years, she had saved enough to buy her father a new house and a car. Pa Naji couldn't stop smiling. On Pa Naji's 70th birthday, Amoka organized a grand celebration at the same event center where her wedding had been held. But this time, she made sure his arrival was met with applause, not shame. She walked in holding his hand, announcing proudly, "This is my father, the man who taught me everything I know about honor and hard work." In her speech, Amoka said, "I once thought success was about hiding where you came from. But true success is when you can return home without fear or shame. My father is my hero." The crowd rose to their feet, clapping until the hall shook. As the sun set, Amoka and Pa Naji sat outside the new house, watching children play in the yard. "You see, my daughter," Pa Naji said softly, "money is good, but character is better. And you have found both." Amoka leaned her head on his shoulder. "I just wish I had known it sooner." And in that moment, the past no longer hurt. It had simply become the soil from which something beautiful had grown.